some of your messages coming in. This regeneration of Tottenham Court Road, crazy Camden Congestion Council creating congestion. If it's a green issue and we have a pollution problem, then we should be making the traffic flow easier. Reducing road space equals congestion. In my experience, pedestrians cross the road when they like looking at their phones rather than the road. How many cyclists and pedestrians are out at 2 o'clock in the morning? Most are out at between 8 and 10 a.m. or 4 to 10 p.m. Loads of money spent for the few austerity measures. They are having a laugh, says Sean, a frustrated motorist. Sean is also a cabbie, here to represent cabbies for us today is Steve McNamara. Steve is the General Secretary of the Licensed Taxi Drivers Association, and in case you haven't heard, cars, lorries and taxis are to be banned from one of London's busiest roads of part of a £41 million regeneration project. Camden Council have unveiled their plans to rejuvenate the Tottenham Court Road area with new public squares, wider pavements and the removal of the current one-way system. Now, work on the project will begin in the summer, and earlier I spoke to Camden Councillor Phil Jones, who is, by the way, the Cabinet Member for Transport, and he explained to me why cars and taxis will be barred from Tottenham Court Road between 8 a.m. and 7 p.m.
It's in a really busy area, and what you have to appreciate is that Crossrail is going to be opening there soon, and there's going to be hundreds of thousands of people coming out of that station. Some people think it's going to be busier than Heathrow Airport in terms of the number of people coming out of there. So we really need to do something about that road. We need to make the pavements bigger, we need to make it safer for cycling, and we also need to make it better for people arriving by all forms of public transport like buses, and that's what we're trying to achieve in a balanced way that's fair to everyone. We are trying to shift the way that people get around London from the more polluting forms of transport to walking, cycling, things which don't cause air quality problems. And a lot of people want to do that. Cyclists tell us that there's lots of people who want to cycle, but they're just too scared to cycle around that area. So by providing separate cycle tracks on Gower Street and keeping Tottenham Court Road to just buses and cycles during the day, we think we're going to encourage people and make it easier for them to get around by bike.
We're listening to that. Steve McNamara, General Secretary of the Licensed Taxi Drivers Association. Evening to you, Stephen. Thanks so much for coming. What's your response? You heard it from the councillor.
Yeah, it's the sort of thing that we expect from the People's Republic of Camden. I'm afraid it's a completely unproven argument. He's saying that there's going to be lots more people coming out of Crossrail, which undoubtedly there is. An awful lot of those people are going to be coming from the airport. They're going to be carrying luggage. They're not going to be riding bikes. They will certainly be interacting with different forms of public transport, as you rightly said. Taxis in London are the only form of public transport that's 100% disability accessible. As you know, we're wheelchair accessible. The vehicles are adapted for disabled people, less ambulant people to get in and out. And yet the councillor seems to think that those disabled people are, how they're going to get around, I don't know.
Will they get on a bus?
What, in a wheelchair? Not all buses take wheelchairs, Eddie, as you know. Lots of people are going to have luggage coming from the airport. They're not going to be wanting to get on buses. But his argument's flawed anyway. This sort of vision of happy cyclists and pedestrians, the number one conflict in London at the moment is pedestrians and cyclists. Everywhere you go, but certainly in the West End, you'll see people step out of the pavement in front of cyclists. That's the number one conflict. The nearest best example is Oxford Street. The majority of accidents in Oxford Street by far are between pedestrians and buses, pedestrians and cycles, not pedestrians and taxis. Taxis stop much quicker than buses.
But
it
isn't just about accidents, as you well know. If you look at Tottenham Court Road, if you look at Oxford Circus, you would have heard, I'm sure you listen, and I know you listen to Drive Time, it's one of the most polluted stretches of roads in the whole of Europe, never mind England.
Absolutely.
And therefore anything that reduces
Eddie,
pollutants has got to be a good thing, isn't it?
Absolutely brilliant, Eddie. That's exactly what we want to do. The level of pollutants in London is at an outrageous level. We're fully behind the Mayor's ULEZ proposals, the ultra low emission zone, from 2018, which is only just over 2 years away, because it's likely to be the end of 2017. All taxis in London, all new taxis, will be zero emission emission capable. We'll be the only vehicles on the road not putting out any emissions. We'll be zero emission capable. But the key point is...
You didn't roll into that happily, did you? How many shows have I done on how unhappy people are, how much money they're going to lose, how it's being thrust upon them?
No, the arguments against it are largely been negated by the Mayor, who's now offering to subsidise the cost of the vehicles. There was an argument there. That's pretty much been done. We're not 100%. But the bottom line is taxi drivers are very keen to embrace new technology. We sit in the traffic all day. We want to drive clean, modern, silent vehicles. That's what we want to be. But the flaw in this pollution argument is that by forcing all the traffic into Gower Street, the traffic is going to be idling. Diesel vehicles idling produce more nitrous dioxide, poison more people. It's no secret. If you get a map of London's air pollution and its hot spots and you overlay it with a map of the traffic, your hot spots for your nitrous dioxide, your PM10s and your PM2.5s are where the traffic is. Camden Council are going to bring Gower Street to a halt. They're going to interfere with Charing Cross Road. It's going to be chaos in New Oxford Street. So the air quality is going to be worse, not better. This is a flawed scheme, Eddie, and we're going to take them to court. We're seeking legal advice today. We'll be issuing a judicial review on this. Taxis are part of public transport in London. We need access to all the roads in London. It's a crazy scheme by a crazy council.
Steve, the point is, and you know the bit I'm talking about, coming up from Shaftesbury Avenue, along there, when they closed that, I was thinking, goodness, what's going to happen? He said, the councillor, that actually fewer cars travel that way. They've found another way to go. There's less pollution, and that is one of the things that's been a driver for them, using that as a way of saying this could be the future.
But the point is that air pollution might have gone down in that one street, but it went up everywhere else. That's the key issue. By bringing in this scheme, absolutely, they might clear a little bit of air pollution at the bottom of Tottenham Court Road. Everyone who's listening to this, who's in Gower Street, New Oxford Street, back on the Euston Road, and any of the streets that interact between them, as far east as Russell Square, the air pollution is going to go through the roof. This is a crazy scheme. What we need to do, we need to pedestrianise this, much as Oxford Street has done. Taxis and buses only. Cycling, we can all get on. The big issue being the majority of people coming out of Tottenham Court Road tube station are not going to Tottenham Court Road. They're going somewhere else. They're going to be getting off a Crossrail, going somewhere else. They're going to need to get there. That's what taxis do. Thank you very much, Steve. Not the end of this then? No, definitely not. Camden Council have been very disingenuous in the way that they've dealt with the consultation. Our lawyers are not very happy with it. We are issuing pre-action protocols today, and we'll be seeking a judicial review against the decision. Thank you very much. Let us know what's going on. Steve McNamara there, General Secretary of the Licensed Taxi Drivers Association. Well, I'll get your thoughts on it. Good idea, bad idea? Are you a car driver, pedestrian, cyclist, maybe all three? What do you think of the idea, and what do you think the result will be? Pick up the phone and give me a call. 020 722 42000, 16 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock. Let's get details of those roads now.